What's going on, guys? Rival Me Teacher House, and I'm here with another What If I Was in a Gen episode. This time we are looking at Black and White and Black and White 2 Generation 5. Most people will probably know this as the Weather Wars generation. This was certainly a hell of a lot of time for weather. There was a lot of very strong weather teams out there. A lot of mechanics were very annoying. We did get a lot of new moves, especially bug-type moves in this gen. We got a very expansive roster of new Pokemon, which is awesome. And there's definitely a lot of things to talk about here. Now, this generation, for me, especially in Black and White 2, which was an expanded version, there was a lot of disappointment to me with regards to the story, especially when it comes to being challenged. There was a lot of problems with the game. The only kind of somewhat saving grace was the Elite Four and Champion were not bad, but honestly, this is my least favorite generation, so I found this one a little bit kind of tedious to do. I would literally want to change pretty much everything when it comes to the gyms, especially the gym leaders. The gym leaders have mostly 3 Pokemon, which is why there's 3 Pokemon on this team. Spoiler alert, we're doing a gym leader. There was a lot of problems with the gyms. Even like later stage gyms were not having fully evolved Pokemon, which is ridiculous to me. The only 2 gyms, in my opinion, that should not have fully evolved Pokemon are the first 2. I think if you're gonna do 3 Pokemon a gym, by the time you get to like Gym 4, they should be 3 fully evolved Pokemon. Now, what's interesting about this game is there is a regular mode and a challenge mode. It's one of the, I think it's the only generation where that's happened. I don't remember there being a challenge mode in any of the other games. But even in the challenge mode, they just had an extra Pokemon, and most of the time they were not fully evolved. So I decided to try and pick a gym that I think would benefit from a minor little spruce up. There were so many problems with all of the gyms in some respects that it was a hard time picking an individual one. But for the purpose of this video, I actually decided to pick up Castalia, which is of course the very big city, the bug city that is currently run by Berg, of course, so we're going to replace him. Now, Berg actually had kind of an interesting team. He had a Dwebble, a Swadloon, and Leavanny, of course, Leavanny being the ace. Now with this one, obviously we are primarily going to be looking at the bug typing because that is the type of the gym. We're not going to mess around with the type. I think it's actually a perfectly fitting type. It is a little bit weird that it's a bug type in a massive city. Maybe normal type would have been better, but normal type is actually Gym 1, so it makes sense that it's not the case. But one of the issues that I find with Berg's team is that it's really kind of boring. Having 2 Pokemon of the same evolutionary line just kind of feels like a cop-out in terms of the actual team build, especially as I believe the last gym trainer you face also has a Swadloon, so it kind of feels like you've already covered the Swadloon basis. You don't really need to see it again. But I do actually like a couple of Pokemon on the team. I do actually like the Dwebble and the Leavanny, which we will talk about. But I think there was an opportunity for one more Pokemon that could actually have been pretty cool to see. And that's what we're going to focus on for the purpose of this. Of course, they are going to have improved sets. They are going to be better than their original sets, because some of their original sets was not very strong. Alright, so first Pokemon we're going to have a look at on the team is going to be the Dwebble. I think it's actually one of the perfect Pokemon for this gym. It is, of course, a Gen 5 Pokemon, which is nice. But Dwebble being part Rock is actually a very good typing, because it appeases those fire types that would come naturally against a bug gym. You would expect it to come, especially as a lot of people tend to pick the fire starter. There was actually a Victini event, which you could actually obtain Victini before you take on this gym, so you could have already had a fire type. So there's a lot of things going on with this particular Pokemon. I think Dwebble is actually very strong. Now, the original Dwebble that Berg had did actually have Smackdown and Struggle Bug. As you can see, we've kept those 2 moves. I think, honestly, aside from having a physical bug move instead of struggle bug, it probably makes the most sense to run this. Struggle bug is actually good against special attackers, especially water types, which Dwebble is actually weak to. But the other two moves on this set were actually Feint Attack and Rock Polish, which are not bad moves, honestly speaking. But I kind of had to take away a little bit from the damaging moves because the next Pokemon we'll talk about is actually a fully evolved Pokemon. It's not Swadloon. So I decided to put entry hazards on instead, with Stealth Rocks and Spikes. Now, a lot of people would say that's decent power budgeting anyway, but I personally feel like given the fact that we are running Sturdy Select Berry, which, if you don't know, Select Berry actually reduces or gives you a speed boost once you are below 25% HP, which is perfect for a Sturdy Pokemon, because they'll end up on 1 HP, so they'll be able to proc the Select Berry pretty easily. So I actually think this is a cool little set. Smackdown, Struggle Bug, Stealth Rock, and Spikes are kind of annoying, but I feel like for competitive play especially, you kind of want to be introduced to these kind of things, because in competitive play, these entry hazards are a staple. Entry hazards are typically something a lot of people prioritize, especially in Draft League and stuff like that. There's always a lot to be said for entry hazards and hazard removal, so kind of being introduced to it as early as possible is actually a pretty cool thing to have. Obviously, I was looking at Sticky Web before, but I think that's just not really going to fit in this particular gym. But yeah, I think Dwebble is very worth having. I think the set is perfectly fine. Yes, I do lose a coverage move. I did take off Feint Attack, but honestly, I think we're perfectly okay with that. Alright, so the next Pokemon we're going to talk about is the one change in terms of Pokemon to the team, and that is actually going to be Vespiquen. Vespiquen, I think, has a really, really good opportunity to be here. It does actually become fully evolved at level 22, which is around about the area of these Pokemon. The low end, the Dwebble is 22 and the Ace is 24. I personally feel like you can do a 22, 23, 24 level system on this. I think Vespiquen is very annoying. With pressure, it does BB stall your Pokemon a lot. It's got very, very strong natural bulk at this level, which is ridiculous. Alongside access to having Heal Order and Confuse Ray and Defend Order, which are all very, very strong utility moves. It makes this thing a little bit harder to take down, absolutely, but at the end of the day, it is 4 times weak to Rock. And there are Rock-type Pokemon before you face this gym, so it's not exactly super difficult to find a way to beat this thing. But yeah, it's a bulky answer, of course, which is always fun. But yeah, having bulk with the leftovers actually makes us a little bit more challenging, but I think it's worth it for the gym. This was kind of what I replaced the Dwebble's power budget by taking off an extra move for, to be able to have the bulk on this thing. Obviously Swadloon is less bulky than this, but you could have just run like in a Violet set, but I didn't really feel like running that. I just felt like Vespiquen was nicer, especially in Black and White originally, with like the honeycomb maze type style gym that they opted for. I thought that was actually kind of cool, and it did lend itself to having a B Pokemon. So Vespiquen made the most sense to me personally, so it's what I wanted to bring in. Obviously for Black and White 2 with the spiderweb maze and stuff like that, and the spiderweb puzzle, it didn't really fit as much, but I feel like this Pokemon in general just fits Berg's gym really nicely as well. He often talks a lot about like queen-like bug Pokemon and stuff like that, and really like really fashionable looking things. So having a queen bee makes a lot of sense in my opinion. And last but by no means least, we are going to keep the Ace, which was Leavanny, but we're going to run a very different set, because the Leavanny that Berg had, I think, had a very, very strange set. I'm just going to look it up just to make sure. It had Struggle Bug, Razor Leaf, Cut, and String Shot, which was very, very weird that it would have one special move and then physical moves and String Shot. I decided to do something a little bit funky with this set and actually introduce Sun, which is kind of a strange one. But it does actually have a little bit of fun with this, because Sunny Day Chlorophyll is a very, very nice little ability, doubling your speed and sun, of course. It does make you pretty fast. You're already 92 base speed, so you're already relatively quick. And then having Electro Web as a coverage move just to troll the water types as well, especially slowing Pokemon down, which is the second effective Electro Web. Solar Beam, of course, is a single turn move in Sun, so it's always nice, and Struggle Bug is there, of course, because that's most likely the TM you get from this gym. So having Struggle Bug just makes things a little bit more fun. Drop that special attack and then the Life Orb. Typically it runs Citrus Berry, but I felt like Life Orb's just a little bit harder. Just makes this gym pretty tough. You got to be able to deal with it relatively easily. Leavanny is pretty frail, so it is not unbreakable, and that quad weakness to fire, which is boosted in sun, does kind of make it a little bit funny. It does actually offer an opportunity for the player who's going to be trying to take on this gym to actually have a very significant advantage. So it makes a lot of sense to me, and I actually like Leavanny in this gym. I think Leavanny is a really good ace, especially being probably one of the few good bugs in this one that you can actually get this early. Otherwise you're looking at Larvesta, which obviously is a pretty interesting Pokemon being bug and fire typing, but the problem with Larvesta is it doesn't really get a lot of moves, especially at this level. So I was trying to make it so that we had somewhat of a usable Pokemon that wasn't super overpowered. I feel like this gym is a nice little improvement to Berg. I think this is exactly the sort of thing we should be looking for with these gyms. Obviously, this is a relatively early game, and Bug is not the best typing in the world, generally speaking. But I do think it's fun. I think this is a really cool team. Let me know what you guys think of this team. I'd love to know what gym you would change in Generation 5. I think there's going to be a lot of debate over quite a lot of the different gyms. I feel like this one was quite a nice little one to try and do and have a go at. But yeah, either way, that's going to be it for me, so thank you so much for watching. My name is Red Bomby Teacher. I'm your coach of the Royal Bomber from Bombies. Stay safe, stay awesome, and I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.